Do a review of Likutei Sichos in Chelek Chof, volume 20, the Sicha for Chanukah. In this Sicha, the Rebbe brings down the Gemara in Shabbos, which discusses the mitzvah of Chanukah, the machloikis between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. According to Beis Shammai, the first night of Chanukah, we light 8, and as we progress, we do 7, 6, until the last night of Chanukah, we do 1. And according to the opinion of Beis Hillel, it goes the other way around. As we do it, we start with 1 light in the first night, and then we keep on increasing every night. The reason for this machlokes, the Gemara gives 2 reasonings for Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. And the Rebbe is inclined to say from the Lashon of the Gemara that these are not just reasonings which have no application. The Rebbe brings down from the Mefarshim that the machlokes between the Rambam and Tosfos depends on what the reason is, as we will see immediately as the Rebbe brings it down. But the Rebbe says even more than that this machlokes between these 2 reasoning is even according to us, in which we do like the Rambam, that we increase for each one of the family members of the family 1 extra light every night of Chanukah. So even to us, it's going to be a difference what the reason is, as the Rebbe will elaborate. So let's go inside and we'll go step by step. Aleph, Chanukah, Aleph. The Rebbe quotes the Gemara in Shabbos. Learned by the rabbis in the Braisa, it says, Mitzvahs Chanukah Neir Ishu Beisai. So originally, the mitzvah of Chanukah that the rabbis instituted to commemorate the miracle of Chanukah, that each one needs to light light for Chanukah. So originally, it was Neir Ish Ubeisai. It was 1 light for a person and his family. So a person came Chanukah, they put up 1 light. That light is all that you needed for Chanukah. So 8 days of Chanukah, you would put 1 light on. But then, a better way to do the mitzvah, v'hamahadrin, those who are doing the mitzvahs in a more perfectionist way, is neir l'kol echad ve'echad. So they will have a lamp, not just 1 lamp for the whole family, but each person in the family will get a lamp. So if there is 5 members of a family, they will light 5 lamps, 5 lamps the first night, 5 lamps the second night, and so on and so forth. So always do it by the members of the family. So neir l'kol echad ve'echad. And then the Gemara says, and there is also a perfect way, even a perfect way of the perfectionist, which means even better than the perfect way. That's b'mahadrin mina mahadrin. So how do we do it in this case? So over here, the very best way, or the mahadrin mina mahadrin, Beis Shammai Emrim, Beis Shammai say, Yom Rishon Madlik Shmoina. On the first day, you start with 8. And then, Mikan ve'elech poiches ve'elech. So you're not just lighting 1 candle per day, but you light many candles. The first day, according to the Beis Shammai, will be 8. And from here on, meaning second day, poiches ve'elech, you do 1 less. Second day 7, the third day 6, and so on till the last day of Chanukah we do 1. That's the way we do it according to Beis Shammai. And the Braisa says, the Beis Hillel say, Yom Rishon Madlik Achas, that on the first night you will put on 1 light. Mekan ve'elech moisi ve'elech, from here on, you will add light. So the second day, according to Beis Hillel, you do 2 or 3. The way we do it today, you increase additional lights every day of Chanukah. So, in the best way, the simple way, the initial way is to just do 1 lamp every night. The better way is to do 1 light for each family member, every day the same. And the even better way is to increase the lamp so that we have more lights, but whether we start with 8 go down lower, that's Beis Shammai's opinion. And the other opinion is we start with one and we go up. Now, the Gemara continues over there. So what is the rationale behind Beis Shammai, who says that we start with 8 and go down, and Beis Hillel says we start with 1 and go up? So the Gemara says, Pligibo Trei Amaroi, there is a disagreement, 2 Amaroi, in the explanation of the reasoning of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Chad Omar, one of the rabbis said, that time of the Beis Shammai keneged Yomim Hanichnosim. The reason why Beis Shammai you say 8, the first day we're saying 8. Look, there's 8 more days to come. We're celebrating. When you light the night, the first night of Chanukah, you put up 8 lights to say we still have 8 days of celebration. And the next day you say we have 7 days. And the next day you have 6 days. So the amount of light represents the anticipation and the coming days that you will still be celebrating. That's the reason Beis Shammai. And Chadom time Keneged Yomim Hanichnosim, the days are coming. The time of the Beis Hillel Keneged Yomim Hayotzim, that it corresponds to the days that are going out. Beis Hillel says no. First day we've celebrated 1 day. On the second day, we say, oh, we've already celebrated 2 days. On the third day, we already celebrated 3 days. And that's the reasoning. Do we celebrate the days that we're anticipating, or we're celebrating the days that we've already celebrated? And that's how we're lighting how many candles, the days we already celebrated. That's one reason. Chadomar, there's another reason. Or the Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. The time of the Beis Shammai keneged Porei Achag. The reason for Beis Shammai that we do less from 876, because it corresponds to the bulls that are brought on Sukkot. The korbanos of the Purim on Sukkot, the way it goes, the first day you bought 14, and then you bought 13 and 12. In total, you got 70. But the 7 days of Sukkot, you see the bulls keep on going lower. So just like we find the Torah, when the Torah gives different numbers, so we say that it goes from the top to the bottom. Here, when we have the best ones do 8 lights, but how should we do it? We should go from the top to the bottom, that's the way we find in the Torah. That's the reason of Beis Shammai. That's what the other rabbi said about Beis Shammai's reason. The time of the Beis Hillel, and Beis Hillel's reasoning is, the Ma'ilin B'Kodesh Ve'in Meiridim. We have a rule that we find that when it comes to holy matters, you increase, you go higher, but you never go lower. So, since it's a mitzvah we should increase. If we're doing the first day 1, we should do 2 and keep on increasing. Beis Shammai says we find in the pasuk by the Porei Achag it goes lower, and here we're saying that because a mitzvah in general we increase, so that's why Beis Hillel say we start with 1 and we keep on going on. Now, is this just an academic differences between the reasoning, or there's a practical application? What will be a difference between what the reasons are? So the Rebbe says the language of the Gemara sounds like it is the Pashtus Aloshim Pligiba Tremeroi. There was a disagreement of Tumaroim. Means there's something to disagree about. If it's just about reasoning, it's not really a disagreement. That's finding reason. But the language Pligi Tremeroi is Mernoita. It's more tilts to the say as the plukta from the Tzvei Ameroim, the disagreement of these 2 Ameroim, is not nor in the timing from Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. It's not just what the reasoning of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, nor she is oichan afkeminel halacha, but it also has a difference halacha. Now, the Rebbe is going to bring in now, there is a machloikis between Tosfos and the Rambam, how to learn this Gemara about Mahadrin Mina Mahadrin. Tosfos learns that the Mahadrin that we learned in the Gemara that put a candle for each one. So you don't light just one every day, but you light the number of family members. That was the original mitzvah. The Mahadrin came and said, no, don't light one, but just light the number. There's 5 members, 5 each day. And then the Mahadrin says Tosfos, they say, no, we're not going to go by the family members, but we're going to either go 876 like Beishamai or 1, but no more. In other words, the Mahadrin is not on top of the Mahadrin. That's separate. The Mahadrin will do it for people in the family. Mahadrin mina Mahadrin, the more perfect is they don't go per family anymore. They just do more every night or less every night. That's the Tosfos understanding. The Rambam learns no, the Mahadrin is on top of the Mahadrin. That first it was one light for the whole family every night. The second came across the Mahadrin, which says for each family member. So we have 5 every night. And the Mahadrin say no, not only 5, but we increase starting first day more, and then we keep on lower. But it's on top of the Mahadrim, and the Mahadrim do not negate this Mahadrim. This is the way it's actually explained in many Svarim and many codifiers as the machloikes between the Rambam and Tosfos, that the disagreement between Rambam and Tosfos is going to be hinged on the 2 reasonings of the different Amiroim. What is the machloikes Rambam and Tosfos that we just explained? Tzi kidas ha-Tosfos, whether the opinion, like Tosfos says, as Mahadrin min ha-Mahadrin is a haisofa of an inyan von eir ish u'beisa. According to Tosfos, when we say the perfect of the perfection is adding only on the first opinion said the first original mitzvah was neid ishu beisai, just to have one candle, ein neir for alle b'nei bayis, one candle for all family members. The Mahadrim are just adding to that. As Mahadrim and Mahadrim, zinden the zweite Nacht Chanukah, they light on the second night Chanukah, zwei Licht for alle b'nei bayis, for all the family members. So only 2 lights. So I mean, this is according to Beis Hillel that halacha is the first night is 1, and the second night is 2. According to Beishamai, would be the other would be 7. But according to Tosfos, according to Beis Hillel, the first, the second day, you would only do 2, because we're not going to do for the family members, because the Mahadrim and Mahadrin is applying just to the original mitzvah. The original mitzvah was 1 per day. Mahadrim and Mahadrin says second day do 2, and the third day do 3. But there's the other opinion we have, Dasa Rambam, that the Mahadrim and Mahadrin is also adding on top of what we already said, that the Mahadrin make a light for each one of the family members. As Mahadrin, min Mahadrin, those who are more perfect, the perfect way. In addition, that we're lighting a candle for each one is men moisiv v'heilich, and on top of that, you add and increase. You do 2 things, according to Beis Hillel. Or the poiches v'heilich, you keep on diminishing going. In the Misper HaNedes, the number of lamps, you keep on increasing per family member. So if you lit 5, you keep on increasing. The second day it'll be 10, it'll be 15 if we keep on increasing or decreasing. And the first day you'll do 8 times 5, and then the second day will be 7 times 5. But according to the Rambam, it applies on top of the Mahadrim. And this will go for all the family members. So this disagreement, the poskim say, is totally in the 2 days from the Amoraim now that hinges on the two opinions of the Amoraim that we mentioned before. That would be a halachic difference whether we do like Tosfos or we do like the Rambam. And what is that connected to them? So the Rebbe explains that Loit der Erster Deya, according to the first opinion, that we're doing it for the coming in and going out, so it's not really lighting for every person separately. The Mahadrim and the Mahadrim, what they're doing over here, they're just trying to make sure that is, you should see that there is more lamps over there. And that's why we either do the days that are coming in. By lighting the days that are coming in, we can tell how many more days there are, or the days that left. So these are, if it's for recognizing purposes, so you're not going to light for everybody because you're not going to be able to recognize it. That doesn't help to the recognizing. Help with the recognizing needs done by seeing the number, seeing 8 the first night according to Shammai, or 1 the first night, the second night, seeing the difference. Again, Loi deresh derdeya. According to the first opinion that explains Machloikis b'Shammai and b'Silo, as time but the b'Shammai keneged yomim hanichnosim, the time but the b'Silo keneged yom hayotzim. The reason of b'Shammai is to correspond to the days that are entering, and the reason of b'Silo to correspond to how much days already gone through. Sint men nit on far yedrun from the b'nei bayis, then we won't light for each one of the family members. Bazunda, we won't put it separately. Nor blois neiru shavesa, we'll just put one for the family, and we will make the every day change the number. Because you need to know a recognizable as the riba hanedis is connected to yomim, to know that it corresponds to the day. Whether it goes in according to Beis Shammai or yotzim according to Beis Hillel. Unitval his faran mero the venike b'nei bayis, but not because there is more or less family members. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to recognize what's still left or what has already passed. So in the days, so that would be like Tosfos. But in the second man the Omer, as time of the Beis Shammai is connected Porei Achag, that this is just a standard that normally we find in the Torah that we do less. Every day is diminished. The time of the Beis Hillel, the Ma'ila B'Kodesh V'Meridim, but Beis Hillel holds in Kedusha, we have to go up and not lower. Darf man nit haben kein Heker of the Mispar Hayomim. So we don't need to tell how many days. So if you have 5 and then you're going to do the members the first day according to Beis Hillel, the next day you're going to have 10, and so you can't tell how many days went they're coming because there's a whole bunch. Doesn't matter. We don't need a Heker of the number of days. Uletam says, and according to this reasoning, the Mahadrim and Mahadrim, Moisif Oich of Mahadrim. So the Mahadrim and Mahadrim, if you want to do it really perfect, according to this reasoning, they will add on top of the Mahadrim, light, so if you have 5 family members, according to Misila, the first night you light 1, and the second night you should light 10. You're not going to see that it's the second day. It's not going to be 2 lamps over there. So it's not going to be connected Yom HaYetz. We don't care Yom HaYetz. He only cares, according to the second Mandomar, that there should be an increase every day. So that would be a difference between these two Ameroim, and that's why it says Pligiba, and that will explain. So the Rebbe brings out that Tosfos and Rambam really can go like either of the reasons. One of the reasons, first reason is the view of Tosfos, that we need recognition, and therefore the Mahadrim will not be able to light for the family and just light for the one for the household and do it in an increased or decreased way. And According to the other man, the Omar, we were going to light for every family anyways, but on top of that, and for not only and we're going to do it for every family member, and we're going to increase and decrease, even though we're not going to be able to tell the day, because that doesn't matter how many days come in or go out. But that would only be a reason, a difference, not for us. We, of course, go like the Rambam, and we light one for every day. The Rebbe wants to find a difference, even according to the way we do it, that it makes a difference between these two reasonings of what the reason of Bishama and Bitzillah. We can, however, say, as the nafkemina zwischen the zwei timing, the difference between these two reasonings is nicht nor wie wir soll lernen dem din von Manahadrim min Amadim. It's not just how we need to learn this law of Mahadrim min Amadim. Kipirish Toyswas, the Rambam, like Toyswas, like the Rambam. So, how to say, do the Mahadrim only add to Neir Shabesik, or also on the Neir Lukolechad Vachon? The Reichlefi Benogeno, also going to our minute, but the Rambam Pasket, as the Rambam rules, the Chein Aminik Posha, the Binig has been obvious, simply, everybody does it as Yadarer from Bnei Habayis. Each one of the family members sinned on Neiris Chanukah. You all light the Neiris Chanukah on his Moisiv Heulich, and you keep on adding and going on. So we can find is an Afkimini and Halacha Lemaisa. There will be a practical difference in Halacha, in actuality, zwischen the zwei timing between these two reasons. And the Rebbe now wants to find the difference between the reasoning of Bisham Betzil, these two opinions, and the Rebbe is going to find a reason in which there's going to be a case in a situation where a person only lit one candle on the second night. And what should he do on the third night? First night he lit one. Second night, whatever, was an accident, and he only lit one. How much does he do the second night? He missed out on Mailin Bakodesh, but on the third night, it can still be Keneged Yomim Hayotzim. What does he do? But this is a case if he only did two, then I was going to find another case. Base. Wenn einer hat angezündet die zweite Nacht, nur einer. If a person just lit one lamp, whatever the reason is not important, he did only one. Come and clear so we can think, wie viel Neire soll zünden die dritte Nacht? How much lamps should he light the third night? Light them ersten man the Omar, according to the first reasoning. And here we only have to deal with Beis Hillel because that's the halacha. As time of the Beis Hillel connected Yopim Bayetzim, that it goes to days that are going out, is pashut, then it would be obvious as a darf onzim den drei Licht connected Yom Bayetzim. So there is still, it doesn't make a difference what he did the day before, but you still have 3 days now that Chanukah has gone out, and you didn't increase the second day, you didn't do that, okay. So now you're still going to do it. You still have to light drei Licht Keneged Yom HaYetzim. That's according to Beis Hillel. According to the reason, Keneged Yom HaYetzim. But according to the second opinion, as time of the Beis Hillel, the Malam Bakodesh, when we're reading the reason why Beis Hillel is because we go higher in Kedusha and we don't go lower, is genug as a met onzinden Lois zwei Licht to elevate in Kedusha. So last night he did one. So now he's doing two. We don't need to have a sign how many days of Yom Tov passed. He's increasing over yesterday. Because even then, he fulfills the mitzvah of going higher in Kedusha and not going down because he's lighting more candle. Yesterday he did one. Also, the second day he did one for whatever reason. So he's doing two now. Okay, but the Rebbe says this is a difference. He didn't do the right thing. But the Rebbe wants to find a case when you did the right thing. But the question is, this is after the fact. What should somebody do if he only has enough for two lights, oil for two lights on the third night of Chanukah? How much should he light? He's not going to do Keneged Yomim HaYotzim. He doesn't have enough of that. So let him just do one light then. He'll do the mitzvah. There's no point in that. But if we say Mailim B'Kodesh, he should put on two lights because he's not going to be doing it fully, but at least he's not going to go lower. Let's see again. The Rebbe says, Odin Afkamina, the difference that we just said about if he only lit one candle on the second day, Muhammad should have right the third day. So it says this is his blois and afal from B'di'evan, after the fact. And not free it when the mitzvah either when you had not done the mitzvah in the perfect way. On the second night you didn't do two, you did one. But there's also a difference in the situation, the case, when in the Friedrich Nacht the Yemekheim given, when the previous nights he did fulfill mitzvahs Ner Chanukah Mahadrim and Mahadrim, the mitzvah of Ner Chanukah in the most perfect way. So on the second day, he lit two. The first day he lit one, and the second day he lit two. Everything is good so far. When it comes to the third day of Chanukah, he only has enough for two lights. How many lamps should he light on the third night of Chanukah? According to the one that says that you're lighting according to the days that are still that you already celebrated. There's no point. You only have two. You celebrated 3 days, but you can only do two. You don't have oil for 3 days. So therefore, you can't represent the days that have passed out, that have gone by. So Basila can't do it in the perfect way. So then just do light one. Since he anyways cannot fulfill the mitzvah, for the days that are left, he's genug as al licht. So let him. He's enough to light one candle, one light. So Mekayim Zainikin mitzvah to fulfill the main mitzvah Nedi Shabesek, a lamp for one family because he's not going to do the other mitzvah anyways. If he's going to add another light, but it's not going to add to the perfection of the mitzvah. He doesn't have enough lamp for the days that go out, so he's not going to be able to accomplish that anyway. So there's no reason for him to do two. He should do one then. That would be according to that reasoning. So we see that's we one way. As opposed to Leuten Zweiten Man Omar, according to the second opinion. The second man, the Omar, explaining that the reason Beis Hillel says that we light 1, 2 is because we got to go up. So then he should be lighting 2. He will not do completely this hidur, which requires 3. The Mailim Bakodesh to be elevated is that al kaponim mekayim the vein merid, but at least he will be fulfilling, not to make less. Sind nit weniger with der mispor 2 licht. At least he's not going to do less than the number 2 lights. Was hat gezunden belel sheni that he has lit on the second night. So that would be the difference. How he should do the third night if he only has enough oil for 2 lights. If the reasoning is like the first opinion, that you uh, have to correspond to the days that left. You're not doing the days that left because you only have two lights, so you might as well just do one. But according to the reasoning that you keep on growing, at least shouldn't has enough for two, do two, because you're not going to do then less than the night before. But then the Rebbe gives even a different and a more difference between these two opinions. And that is whether this whole two or up or down, more or less, doing the is part of the Chanukah lights, or it's just a general Torah, because we learned from the Parachag. Is it within the mitzvah of Chanukah itself? Gimel. But deeper, we can say, as is da achilik zwischen the zwei mandaomer and the geder hashayches, that the two mandaomer different in the definition of the connection from mahadrim and amahadrim to mitzvahs ner Chanukah, how it's connected, this perfection of the perfect person to the mitzvah of ner Chanukah. The chiluk bepashas zwischen sie, what was the simply difference between them? Leuten ersten man der Omar, according to the first opinion, seinen the timing from Bisham bis Hillel verbunden mit dem Chanukah. The reasons of Bisham bis Hillel are associated, tied to the days of Chanukah. Kineged Yom HaNichnosim, or the Kineged Yom HaYotzim, to the days that have already that are about to enter, or the days that have already going out. Mashenkin Leut der zweiter day, but according to the second opinion, the time of verbunden mit Hazait Keninyan, their reasoning is associated with something on the side. Pareachag, either the rules of the Sukkos or Hanogas Odom Kodesh, or the way a person should deal with Kodesh, but not specifically connected to Chanukah. The Signan Acher, to use a different style in this idea, Aleph, could either say das is a din in them Gavra. It's a halacha in the person, what the person needs to do. The mitzvah, the Chanukah layers didn't change. It's the person, how he performs the mitzvah. The mitzvah said is the fact that he is adding every night in the number of light, oder making less, that adds perfection in Zayin, the Mgavers, that adds to the perfection of the person's Kiyum mitzvah, his performance. He does the better mitzvah. The neighbors is moisif. However, these lamps, they are optional lamps. They don't really, they're not Hanukkah lamps. They're just the person is doing a perfect mitzvah. They don't get the objective of the mitzvah of Hanukkah. They don't become the object of the mitzvah of Hanukkah. The base. On the other hand, thus is a din in their mitzvah gufa, that becomes part of the mitzvah itself. Chanukah light consists of, according to the Mahadrin, by doing it 8-7 or 1-2-3 in the way the natives vernachefze the mitzvah, they become the object of the mitzvah. The mitzvah is ner Chanukah. What's the difference between this? Whether it's the persons, the Farshim explain what happens if you get the extra light after you've already lit. So if it's doing just the mitzvah of the person, okay, he missed out. He didn't do the mitzvah in the perfect way. But if it's the Chanukah neighbors, you should still do it. The difference between the two, whether it's just the perfection that the person is doing or it's part of the mitzvah Chanukah, if they brought you the additional neighbor, the lamps, Nochem benchen from Neir Ha'alef. You lit already the first one, and then now you got an opportunity to put more, but you already made a bracha. Tzimiz mevarich of the neighbors, the Hidur, so you make a bracha on the nights of the Hidur. I mean, of course, you can put it on anyways, but do you make a bracha? Is it part of, if it's part of the neighbor's Chanukah, then you'll make a bracha on it, because this is still part of neighbor's Chanukah. You do the machlokas achronim as the known disagreement achronim, whether you will make a bracha on the new lamps that you bring after you already made the bracha on the first lamp. And the Rebbe says, "Und das is der chiluk." So this, whether it's chefza or gavra, is the difference between these two man omers in the Gemara. Und das ist der chiluk zwischen the zwei man omers, zwischen the two opinions. Leut nerst the man omer as time the bishama is connected yom man ichnos mit time the bisul connected yom ma yotzim. According to the opinion that says Beis Shammai goes by the days that come in, and Beis Hillel goes by the days that are gone out. How many days gone out? Atam verbunden mit Dimei Chanukah. It's a reason which is connected to the days of Chanukah, mit Nes Chanukah, and from the miracle of Chanukah. For which we could institute. The rabbis institute Ner Chanukah to celebrate Chanukah, and this is a reason within the Chanukah, because it tells you how many days to celebrate them still over gone. So it becomes part of the mitzvah. Then the neighbors that you add every day are tel from Chanukah or mitzvahs ner Chanukah. They are a tel from Chanukah and the mitzvah ner Chanukah. The neighbors are the neighbors mitzvah from Chanukah. These are lamps of the mitzvah of Chanukah. This is also the way it's simply as durch der Eisofa ben neighbors that you have more lamps. Wird euch nisparsem, wie jeden Tag ist zugekommen dem Nesaneder, so that you publicize that every day it was added to the nace of the Neder. It wasn't just one miracle. Every day there was a new miracle. So the additional Neders add to the publicizing of the miracle of Chanukah that there is an additional nace. It came additional nace. Wasn't that it lasted from the previous day, but there was additional nace, a new nace every day. But opposed to the second mandomer, as time with the Bishama is connected Pori Achag. The reason Bishama is too because it corresponds to the bulls of Sukkot. The time with the Basilim, the Mailim Bakodesh and Meridna, and Basil's reasoning because we go higher in Kedusha and we don't bring it down. Time of his Hopnit Keshaychas Betoichem Tzimei is Chanukah. Those are reasons that don't have a connection in contents, they're meaning to the days and the miracle of Chanukah. Is the Mahadrim and Amahadrim Loizar is Sofa Vihidur. So that becomes only an addition and a perfection in the Anhoga Bechlal from the Mgabra in the conduct, in general conduct from the person. Zol Zayin Amayla B'Kodesh Chulu, he should be being elevated in Kedusha. Aber nit in the Chefza from the mitzvah, but not in the object from the mitzvah. That doesn't change because according to him, it's just the person is doing because it's not associated directly to the Chanukah. So now the Rebbe is going to explain the lengthy language in the Rashi. When Rashi is explaining the Porei HaChag and the Mailim B'Kodesh, he has a lengthy lashon, but now we will understand the lashon. Daled al pizeh tumtek that goshev arichis von Rashi beperushin the sugi. It will be sweetened based on we're learning now that this is the difference between the two opinions, whether the mitzvah is associated, becomes part of the mitzvah of Chanukah, if it's connected yom yom and yom yetzim, nechnosim or yetzim, or it's just a perfection of the person. We'll understand. And it'll be sweetened the emphasis and the length of Rashi in the commentary, in his commentary on the Gemara in that sugi. They are diminished and go be korbanos the parashas Pinchas. Rashi says that the korbanos in the portion of Pinchas. And then when it says Ma'ila b'kodesh ve'meridin, in the opinion, the second opinion, he says Mikro yafin lo b'menochis. We learned it in a pasuk in Menachos b'perik Shtei Halachim in the chapter Shtei Halachim. The cheder is nitgalatik dariches. We're not so smooth this length. The korbanos is the parashas Pinchas. Why does Rashi have to say the korbanos a parashas Pinchas? Well, the ma'inaf kemina, and why does Rashi say as ma'ilum b'kodesh chulu that 11 men of mikro, that it's mikro yafin lo. Based the limud is b'menochas b'perik Shtei Halachim and b'menochas b'perik Shtei Halachim. Why is Rashi adding these details over here? Yesh loymar. So, but Rashi wants to emphasize that these are not Chanukah matters. These are outside. These are just general instruction for where a person does a mitzvah. Yes, Loimar. Rashi is madgish. Rashi emphasizes Loida man the Omar sein in the timing from Bisham and Bisilo. According to this opinion, the reason Bisham and Bisilo nit verbunden mit dem Prat von Chanukah and Chanukah, they're not associated, they're not tied to the detail of Chanukah and the miracle of Chanukah. This is the way Rashi, lengthy in his language, is trying to point to the fact. Pora Chag Nismati V'Hilchim, the Karbonis, the Parshas Pinchas. The Pora Chag that the minute going, this is in the Karbonis of Parshas Pinchas. Rashi writes, Karbonis Parshas Pinchas. Those hat nicht Geschachtes mit Chanukah. To the emphasis, it doesn't have a connection to Chanukah. Mailim v'koiz ve'emeridin so Rashi mikroya finalom v'mnochas v'perik shtel lechem. So I should tell you two things. This is alimut v'yirov b'terish v'ksav. It's something a posik. So that means it's not even associated with the Rabbanon, which is the mitzvah Chanukah. The Chanukah kul limited for suffering, all it's only for suffering. So this has nothing to do with Chanukah really. It's a posik. Mikro. It's learned about shtel lechem. Ayro klolis. This is a general lesson. These are matters that are discussed in Menochos. Nita shayches to Chanukah, they have no connection to Chanukah. So Rashi writes you just to point out that this is nothing, this is a gavra dike, according to this person. It's a person doing a mitzvah like generally, but it's not part of the mitzvah of Chanukah. And as the Rebbe said before, if they brought this to make the chiluk would be that if they brought the Neiros Chanukah after you lit already and the extra, you won't have to make a bracha according to the second one because you did the mitzvah already and the way you did it. But if it's associated with Chanukah, you have to make the bracha as the discussion in the Achrein. Hey, the Rebbe says, Loik der Hasbori in the Plukte is moving. So according to this explanation, in the Achrein is understood as the Tzveite Nafkemina Shebesiv Beis Hana. The Rebbe brought down the second Nafkemina when Einer had lois zwei neres below Shlishi the Chanukah. If he has only two lights on the third night of Chanukah. See, soll zünden ein Licht oder zwei. So before we said, is it mochrach? So before we said, the Rebbe said it depends. If we say on Mailim B'Kodesh, the Rebbe said, then he should. But if he said that it's Keneged Yom HaYotzim V'Nichnasim, then the Rebbe suggested that maybe you don't need to. Because you're always not going to do, you just might as well just do one on the third night, because you're always not going to do Keneged Yom HaYotzim. So just do one. That's the Rebbe suggested before. But the Rebbe says no, that now it's not mukhrach. We're going to say that according to all opinions, you should still light two and not one, because this is part of the mitzvah Chanukah now. Because even according to the opinion, as time at the Beis Hillel Keneged Yom HaYotzim, that they go out, you should still light two, not one. If you don't have enough oil for three, still do two. He doesn't have the complete hidur to give the days that are already left. There's 3 days left, and you only have 2 days left there. So you should at least minimally light for some of the days that are going down. Be bald as the meat is there, moisiv and the etzem mitzvah. Key is the Rebbe just explained. This is the essence of the mitzvah. So you're adding to the essence of the mitzvah. The mitzvah essence, mitzvah of Chanukah is extra, is to do more. The neiros Chanukah seine bei ihm mehr beschleimus. The neiros of Chanukah are more beschleimus. Und seine mefarsim nicht nur dem Iker Nesan neiros. Not only are they telling about the May that there was a miracle of a night, the nor euch They suffer in them nays like the merchant of they also the fact is they do tell us about the addition in these days with regards to the first day. So therefore, the Rebbe says that second difference, according to all opinions, still light 2, at least. However, in a fall, wenn hat nicht genug Schemen, a viel zu tun dem Hider von früher dicken Tag. He doesn't have even enough oil to do as good as he did the day before. Can't match up here. The third day will be 2. Okay, so the day before that, the same thing is doing 2 now. But what happens if he can't even do like the Thursday? L'dugma, for example, then Belel Shmini on the 8th day hot veniker v'zibun neiris. So you don't have less oil that you can't even do 7 lamps. Should you at least light 6 or 5 or whatever? And that will be just the opposite. And this would be in the opposite way of the opinions that we said before. Leuten ersten man the Omar, the Rebbe just came up and said that according to the one that says Yom HaYetzirah, that's part of the mitzvah. So in this case, is Leuten ersten man the Omar connected Yom HaYetzirah, and that became part of the mitzvah of Chanukah. Light as much of the light of Chanukah that you can. The Baldos Zachele from Gufa Mitzvah the Eres Chanukah, since it's part of the mitzvah of Eres Chanukah. So you need to light at least what you have, as much of the Eres Chanukah you have. In the mitzvah of Chanukah now, so to add as much as is able to mitzvah Chanukah. So according to the first opinion, Tosh's opinion, according to that we say Kineged Pare, Kineged Moise B'Hailach I mean the Kineged Yom HaYetzim, he should light if he has on the 8th day 7, 6, 5, whatever he can do. But Leuten zweiten man the Omar, as time with the Mali, the Beisel Mali Mekedish Amirin. That the reason is because we do higher not to make lower, but in this case he's not going to make lower. But the Neidish, he's going to make lower anyways. But the Neidish Mesifin. These added letters do not have a connection to Neiris Chanukah. You don't have to do it because of Chanukah. It's just the way of perfection. On the 8th day, if he's going to do less than 7, he's going to be murdered no matter what. So what's the point? Let him just do 1. He's stop it as long as he knows Neiris Shubeisah. Should just be based on the Mikra mitzvah, the main mitzvah. What are you going to gain? Because that's not part of the mitzvah. Oiber is moisif alikra mitzvah. If you're going to do more than the main mitzvah, and you're not doing mekayim especially, you're doing more, but toiskumen as it is over of emeridin. If you're just doing the mitzvah itself, okay, that's the mitzvah. So I'm doing 1, or I'm doing what they have. But if you're going to be doing less, you're going to be doing then the less the day before. You're going to be violating a meridian to do anything less. But if on this day he fulfills the mitzvah properly, so that's okay. That's the way it was instituted. So he's doing 1. So it turns out that if Mailim Bakoidish, he shouldn't light more than 1. So the Rebbe twisted it around that since the Rebbe brought out that according to the first mandam, it becomes part of the Chanukah, so you should light as much as you can from it. But according to the second one, that you want to be meridin, if you're going to do less than the day before, you're going to be meridin, and that's why maybe you should light only 1. This is Mesichus Motzoi Shabbos Kodesh, Parshas Miketz, Tovshin Lamed Tes.